The invitation arrived in a cream envelope with gold lettering. The Metropolitan Society Ball, my mother's name embossed at the top as honorary chair. 500 guests, international dignitaries, the social event of the season. My name was not on the guest list. Maya, about Saturday's ball, Mom said when she called. We've arranged for you to help with coat check. Service entrance at 6. The coordinator will provide staff attire. I was at my State Department desk reviewing briefing materials for Ambassador Kova. Coat check? Mom, I'm not staff. It's better this way. The main hall isn't for everyone, darling. You'd be uncomfortable with important people. Your brother and sister will be at the head table with diplomatic guests. We don't want you feeling inadequate by comparison. I looked at my security badge. Senior Policy Advisor to Ambassador Helena Kova, EU Delegation. The badge that granted access to classified briefings and international negotiations. I work with diplomats every day. You have your little government job, which is lovely. But this is for people with real social standing. Ambassadors, foreign ministers, society leaders. You'd be out of place at the main tables. Coat check is perfect, included but not visibly present. My little government job. As Senior Policy Advisor, I drafted policy recommendations influencing EU-US relations, briefed senators, coordinated with foreign ministries. I understand, I said quietly. Good. You've always been reasonable about knowing your place. Service entrance, 6 sharp. She hung up. My colleague James noticed my distraction during a briefing. Maya, you all right? Family event Saturday. My mother wants me working coat check while they sit with diplomats. His eyebrows shot up. Doesn't she know what you do? She thinks I have a little government filing job. Never asked for details. You brief foreign ministers. You draft international policy. That's not little. She's not interested in what I actually do. Just what it looks like socially. James smiled slowly. Ambassador Kova is attending that ball. This should be interesting. Friday afternoon, Ambassador Kova called me into her office. A formidable woman in her 50s, brilliant, direct, fiercely protective of her team. Maya, I've reviewed tomorrow's attendance. Your mother is honorary chair. Will you sit with our delegation? Actually, Ambassador, my mother asked me to work coat check. Through the service entrance. Her expression froze. Excuse me. She doesn't think I'm suited for the main hall. She believes I'd be more comfortable in a support role. Your mother knows you work for me? That you're Senior Policy Advisor. She knows I work for the government. Never asked specifics. Ambassador Kova's eyes narrowed. Let me understand. Your mother, hosting a ball attended by the entire European diplomatic corps, has assigned her daughter, my Senior Policy Advisor, to work coat check like service staff. Yes, Ambassador. And she has no idea you drafted the trade policy recommendations I'm presenting to the Secretary of State next week. No, Ambassador. She leaned back, a cold smile forming. Do you want to attend as my guest and colleague, or let your family continue believing you're insignificant? I don't want to cause trouble. That's not what I asked. I met her eyes. I want them to see me. Really see me. Just once. Then they will. You're joining the official EU delegation. You'll arrive with me in the diplomatic motorcade. You'll sit at my right hand at the head table. You'll be introduced formally as Senior Policy Advisor. Ambassador, my mother will be mortified. Your mother will learn what it means to underestimate her daughter. I'm calling the coordinator now to update the seating chart. Saturday evening, I dressed in my emerald gown, elegant and professional, nothing like the staff attire Mom mentioned. At 6:30, the EU diplomatic motorcade arrived. 3 black cars with diplomatic flags, security personnel, full formal protocol. I rode with Ambassador Kova. You'll be introduced as part of my delegation, she said. Your mother will be at the entrance greeting us. This should be enlightening. We arrived at 7. The red carpet packed with photographers. At the entrance, Mom stood with the coordinator and board members, greeting arrivals. The diplomatic motorcade pulled up directly in front. Security exited first, then opened doors for the ambassador. Cameras flashed. Then I stepped out behind her. Mom's smile froze. Her eyes went from confused to shocked to horrified. The coordinator checked his list. Ambassador Helenakova of the European Union delegation. And her senior policy advisor, Maya Patel. Maya. Mom's voice was barely a whisper. What, you're supposed to be at the service in trance. Good evening, Mrs. Patel, Ambassador Kova said coolly. Thank you for hosting this diplomatic function. I understand you're surprised to see your daughter, but she's exactly where she belongs, with my delegation. Her daughter works for you. The coordinator looked confused. Mrs. Patel said her daughter was helping with coat check. That she wasn't on the guest list. That's because Mrs. Patel was unaware of her daughter's position, Ambassador Kova said, her tone making her feelings clear. Maya is my senior policy advisor. She coordinates EU-US policy initiatives and briefs foreign ministers. I requested her presence as part of my official delegation. Board members stared. Photographers captured everything. Mom looked ready to faint. Shall we proceed inside? Ambassador Kova's voice was pleasant, eyes steel. The diplomatic corps is being seated at the head table. With Maya beside me, of course. We swept past Mom into the grand ballroom. Crystal chandeliers, white roses, tables set with gold-rimmed china. At the head table, place cards marked seats for ambassadors and senior diplomats. Beside Ambassador Kova's nameplate, Maya Patel, Senior Policy Advisor, EU Delegation. The German ambassador approached. Maya. Wonderful to see you. Thank you again for your work on the trade protocols. Excellent recommendations. Thank you, Ambassador Fischer. The French cultural attaché joined us. Maya, I've been meaning to ask if you'd consult on our education exchange program. Ambassador Kova watched with satisfaction. Maya is one of my most trusted advisors. Across the room, Mom talked urgently with the coordinator, both looking at me. He kept shaking his head, pointing to the official seating chart. At 7:30, the program began. The society president welcomed guests, then introduced the diplomatic delegation. We're honored to host representatives from the European Union. Please welcome Ambassador Helenakova and her senior policy advisor, Maya Patel. Ambassador Kova stood, and I rose beside her. Applause filled the room. Cameras flashed. I watched my mother's face cycle through shock, humiliation, and dawning realization. Her daughter, the one she'd assigned to coat check, was being formally introduced as senior diplomatic staff. During dinner, I sat between Ambassador Kova and the Austrian economic minister, discussing trade policy. This was my professional world. What I did every day. My sister Vanessa appeared during the second course. Maya, what the hell? You work for an ambassador? Why didn't you tell us? I tried. Multiple times. None of you were interested. But you said government job. I do work for the government. In international policy. You heard government job and assumed secretary. You never asked what I actually do. Mom is freaking out. She told everyone you were working coat check. Now you're at the head table. She looks like an idiot. That's not my fault. She made assumptions. She decided I wasn't good enough for the main hall. My brother Marcus joined us, face red. Do you know how embarrassing this is? Mom's entire social circle is asking why she didn't know her daughter works with diplomats. Maybe she should have asked about my work instead of assuming it was insignificant. Ambassador Kova's voice cut through. Excuse me, but you're interrupting. If your family has questions about Maya's position, they can schedule appropriate time. This is a diplomatic function, not a family dispute. Vanessa and Marcus retreated. Other guests had noticed. Society matrons whispered. Photographers hovered. During dessert, the society president introduced Ambassador Kova for remarks about EU-US cultural cooperation. Thank you for this opportunity, Ambassador Kova began. Tonight, I want to recognize someone whose work has been instrumental in developing these initiatives. She turned to me. Maya Patel, my senior policy advisor, has spent 3 years creating frameworks for cultural cooperation. Her policy recommendations have shaped how the EU and US collaborate on education, arts, and cultural heritage. She's briefed foreign ministers, coordinated with multiple embassies, and drafted agreements benefiting millions. Applause rippled through the room. Maya represents the best of diplomatic service. Dedicated, brilliant, deeply committed to building bridges between nations. I'm honored to work with her, and pleased we can recognize her contributions publicly. The applause grew louder. I stood, acknowledging it, and watched my mother's expression crumble. This was her moment as honorary chair, and her daughter, the one she tried to hide, was being celebrated by an ambassador. After the program, guests approached asking about my work. The Danish ambassador requested my contact information. A foundation director asked if I'd speak at their conference. The society president herself asked for my card. And Mom stood at the room's edge, watching her social standing disintegrate. Everyone now knew she tried to hide her accomplished daughter. That she'd been so ignorant she'd assigned her to service staff. The whispers were brutal. Can you imagine not knowing your daughter works with ambassadors? She told everyone Maya had some minor job. What kind of mother doesn't ask about her child's career? Around 10, Mom approached. Maya, can we talk? Privately. In a quiet corridor, she turned to me with tears. How could you humiliate me? This was supposed to be my night. Your night? You assigned me to coat check. You said the main hall wasn't for everyone. That I wasn't suited to important people. I didn't know you worked with ambassadors. You never told me. I told you I worked in international policy. You never asked what that meant. You assumed it was minor because it didn't come with social club memberships. You should have made me understand. I tried. For 3 years. Every family dinner, every call, I mentioned my work and you changed the subject. You weren't interested unless it made you look good socially. Everyone is laughing at me. You don't know me, Mom. That's the truth. And it's not my job to make you look good by hiding who I am. I walked back to the ballroom. Ambassador Kova was preparing to leave. Time to go. Yes, Ambassador. We left through the main entrance, the motorcade waiting. Cameras captured our exit. Tomorrow those photos would be everywhere. The next morning, the story was viral. Honorary chair assigns diplomat daughter to coat check. Photos of me with Ambassador Kova. Videos of the ambassador praising my work. Society blogs dissecting Mom's ignorance. The Metropolitan Society quietly removed Mom as honorary chair of future events. Her social media went dark as comments poured in. Vanessa called, crying. Mom is devastated. She's being dropped from committees. Her entire social circle has turned on her. She turned on me first, I said. The consequences are hers to manage. Ambassador Kova called me Monday morning. The EU delegation has received multiple commendations about your work this weekend. You've brought credit to this office. Thank you, Ambassador. I also filed a formal complaint with the Society Board. What your mother did, trying to relegate diplomatic staff to service roles, was professionally insulting to this delegation. Over the following weeks, Mom lost most of her social positions. Her friends distanced themselves. The society that had been her identity turned on her. She tried to reconcile 6 weeks later. A tearful call about being sorry, being blind, wanting another chance. I need time, Mom. You spent 3 years dismissing me. You can't undo that with one apology. How long will you punish me? I'm not punishing you. I'm protecting myself. There's a difference. 6 months later, I was promoted to Deputy Director of Policy Coordination. Ambassador Kova announced it personally, praising my exceptional contributions to EU-US relations. Mom saw the news on social media. She texted, "Congratulations, Maya. I'm proud of you." I didn't respond immediately. Pride after public recognition wasn't the same as pride given freely. But eventually, I replied, "Thank you." It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't reconciliation. It was acknowledgement that we both existed in the same world, even if we'd never truly understand each other. My worth wasn't determined by who recognized it. The ambassador had seen my value. Colleagues respected my work. Foreign ministers requested my expertise. Mom's blindness was her limitation, not mine. She'd whispered the main hall wasn't for everyone. But she'd been wrong. The main hall was exactly where I belonged. And everyone, except her, had always known it. The European Council invited me to speak at their annual summit 3 months after my promotion. Ambassador Kova presented the invitation personally. They want you to discuss transatlantic policy frameworks. It's the highest honor for someone at your level. You'll be the youngest speaker in the summit's history. The news made international diplomatic circles. My photo appeared in foreign policy journals. The State Department issued a press release highlighting my achievements. Mom saw it, of course. Everyone saw it. She called this time instead of texting. Maya, I saw about the European Council. That's incredible. I had no idea your work was so important. You never asked, Mom. Silence. Then, quietly, I know. I'm trying to understand now. Trying to see you. Really see you. It's been 8 months since the ball. 8 months of me doing exactly what I was doing before. The only difference is now you're paying attention. Can we have coffee? Please? I want to hear about your work. Actually hear about it. I hesitated. Part of me wanted to refuse, to maintain the distance I'd carefully constructed. But another part, smaller, more hopeful, wondered if people could actually change. Okay. Coffee. But Mom, if you check your phone or change the subject when I talk about policy, I'm leaving. I'm done being dismissed. I won't. I promise. We met the following Tuesday at a cafe near my office. Mom arrived early, already seated, hands wrapped around a coffee cup like she needed something to hold on to. For 2 hours, she asked questions. What did senior policy advisor actually mean? What were my responsibilities? Which countries did I work with? What was the European Council summit about? She listened. Really listened. Took notes on her phone. Asked follow-up questions that showed she was processing, trying to understand. I'm sorry, she said finally. I'm so sorry I didn't see this before. That I was so caught up in social appearances that I missed who you actually are. What you've accomplished. I needed you to see me before the ambassador announced it. Before it was public and impressive. I needed you to think my work mattered when it was just me telling you, not when everyone else validated it first. I know. And I failed you. Spectacularly. She met my eyes. I can't undo the ball, or the years before it. But I can do better going forward. If you'll let me. It wasn't redemption. It wasn't erasing the hurt of being assigned to coat check while my siblings sat with dignitaries. It wasn't removing the memory of Mom's horrified face when I emerged from the ambassador's car. But it was a start. We'll see, I said. Actions matter more than promises. She nodded. Then I'll show you through actions. 3 weeks later, Mom attended my European Council presentation. She sat in the public gallery, watching me address foreign ministers and policy experts. Afterward, she waited outside the conference hall. You were brilliant, she said simply. I'm proud of you, Maya. Not because important people recognize you, but because you're doing work that matters. Work that helps people. I should have been proud of that all along. I felt tears sting my eyes. Thank you. We weren't fixed. The relationship would probably never be what it could have been if she'd seen me from the beginning. But we were trying. Learning each other. Building something new from the wreckage of what had broken at that society ball. And maybe that was enough. Because I'd learned the most important lesson that night. My value wasn't dependent on my mother's recognition. The ambassador had seen it. My colleagues knew it. Foreign governments requested my expertise. I belonged at the main hall. At the head table. At the European Council summit. Not because anyone granted me permission. But because I'd earned it. And that truth, solid, unshakable, mine, was something no one could ever take away.